Welcome to It Takes Heart. I'm Sam Miklos.
And I'm Kate Coomber.
We hope you enjoy these incredible stories of healthcare professionals making a difference in communities across Australia and beyond.
Through our conversations, we look to celebrate the spirit of community and care.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land who have long practiced and shared ancient methods of healing, providing care and support for their communities with wisdom passed down through generations.
Join us as we explore what it truly means to take heart.
So our guest today is full of life. Mari Davey is the epitome of remote area nursing. Adaptable, resilient, with a diverse skill set and a great sense of humour, ensures that she can navigate the complexities of healthcare in remote and sometimes pretty harsh environments. Mari began nursing in New South Wales in the 80s, at a time when you were trained on the job. She's been helping and healing patients throughout several decades, which then led her to remote area nursing. Her initial foray into remote nursing was a stint in FIFO work in 2019, and then it was full steam ahead with her husband Peter at her side, where they were adventure across Indigenous communities in the Northern Territory. Mari particularly enjoys contracts about 8 weeks or less, so she can stay fresh and energised for her patients, whilst also taking in those beautiful landscapes that so many of us Aussies miss out on. Mari is finally living the dream that she had as a child, discovering remote areas of Australia in amongst our First Nations people. The team at Cornerstone described Mari as one of the most easygoing, fun, resilient and dedicated RANs who will literally do anything to get to a placement, including, and I can't believe this story, riding the local mail truck and a tinnie to get to a placement in a remote community.
I think we should start there.
Firstly, welcome Mari to the It Takes Heart podcast. Can we start with that story?
Well, I guess it's a case of, when people don't actually know how remote is, and when a community is cut off in the wet season, and you get to the contractor who's supposed to get you there on a bus and they go, there's no bus. It's wet season.
Mm-hmm.
But the mail vehicle's going out.
Yep.
And, yes, they get you onto that vehicle, which is a four-wheel drive, which, yes, had to go through quite a bit of water to get us to the clinic at Daly River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very different.
Talk about commitment. So I believe you've just completed a contract in Palumpa in NT, is that right? And
absolutely beautiful.
I was just going to say, everyone says it's just beautiful up there. I guess, can you first just share with us what is a remote area nurse and what's the role of the RAN in the community for those who aren't familiar?
So remote in itself can be anywhere from an hour from Darwin to, well, I think the furthest I've been is 6 hours southwest of Katherine.
Mm-hmm.
But these are places that our local First Nations people live.
Yep.
And they don't have a hospital, they have a clinic.
Mm-hmm. So
a remote nurse goes and works in that clinic. It's basically an 8 to 5 job. And then there's an on-call roster 24/7.
Yep.
So nurses are called in to do that. Our main reason for being there is for primary health care.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking after medications. You're not just a nurse, you're the pharmacist. You're dispensing their medications that come from the pharmacy. You are the first aider. You're patching up the kids. You're patching up adults. You're doing the immunisations. You're pretty much doing everything.
And are you supported by other healthcare professionals, or are you sole nurse in these positions?
No, I've not personally worked in a sole nurse environment.
Yep.
Palumpa was 3 nurses, so it was the manager and 2 other nurses.
Yep.
The GP would come in every Wednesday, fly in every Wednesday with a registrar doctor.
Yep.
And then other than that, you had a doctor on call. So if you needed the doctor, you would ring them at other times. We follow the CARPA manual, which is the standard manual of practice for the Northern Territory.
Yep.
And if there's something that's not in there that you need to talk to a doctor about, then that's when you would ring what we call the DMO, or the District Medical
Officer. Yeah. So you dived into the world of remote area nursing in 2019. What was your nursing career like before that? What areas did you practice in?
The majority of my time was spent I did 15 years in maternity.
What?
And then got out of that. I got a bit burnt out in that. And then I went into in-home care. I went from there to aged care, then into general practice. And I think general practice probably set me up the best for remote because it is primary health care as well.
Yeah.
And at that point I did like my immunisation certificate, I did well women screening, I did sexual and reproductive health, ear management. So lots of things there. That was setting me up. From there I went to corrections health and then community health before I left there. And, yeah.
Would you say, like on that...
So I was going to say my first placement was at Timber Creek.
The first remote placement.
Yeah.
And how easy was that transition? Because all of those skills that you've just listed right there, like that is such a diverse skill set. You know, a lot of RNs might not have all of those skills coming in through remote.
Dispensing medications and things like that.
Like how easy was that transition?
Look, it's terrifying anyway. Any change. If you're working in the hospital and you're working on a medical ward and you're suddenly going off to the surgical ward, it's terrifying because it's a different field. So remote nursing was again a different field, and I thought I knew a lot about nursing until I got remote.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Remote nursing is a whole different ball game completely.
Can I ask, I guess, what drove you to do it then? If it's very different, you've done some vast things across nursing, but what was really the thing that spurred you on to do it? Did I hear from maybe the team that you'd been dreaming about living remote since you were little?
Yeah. So my very best friend, who is also a nurse, and she works in Dubbo, still nursing. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be Aboriginal.
Wow.
When we were 7. We wanted to be Indigenous. We had our own little language that no one else understood. I don't know that we understood it either. I think we just had a connection and knew what each other wanted. We were neighbours. We've been friends all of our lives. Mm-hmm. So, yes, for 61 years we've been friends.
Wow.
And then I went nursing, got married. So it was sort of out of the picture. It was always in my background, always at the back of my mind. My children left home. My marriage broke down. I met a new partner. I'd said to him that was what I wanted to do, and he went, go for it. So he very much encouraged me to do my maternity emergency care course, the remote emergency care course, the advanced life support and pharmacotherapeutics. So they're 4 courses that you pretty much have to have, and your immunisation.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you, was there any other study that you had to do, or they were the main 4 things?
They're the main ones that you needed to do. I think nearly every agency that you will talk to will request those things.
Is there anything, so that now that you have been doing this role for a while, is there any other courses in addition to those 4 that you think, oh gosh, like they would really help you along the way?
I since have done my long-acting reversible contraception course.
Yeah. So
I insert implanons into women and remove them. That's one I've done since I've been in the Northern Territory. Mm-hmm. There's a huge focus on emergency stuff, but very little of what we do is emergency. It is mostly primary care.
Right.
And there's certainly a lot that you will learn on the job, simply because you don't know what day-to-day is going to bring. The majority of nurses wouldn't know how to look in an ear, but you can learn that on the job.
Yeah.
Asking another nurse, asking the doctor.
And I guess getting to a clinic that can really support you when you get out to those communities, I guess if you're stepping into that for the first time, how important is that for you to have support around you to make you feel confident?
Essential.
Yeah.
Essential. I was very blessed, and there is one of the girls that I worked with at Timber Creek, Kimmy. I still give her big hugs because I say to her, without her, she really was my mentor to remote.
And I guess that could really be quite critical to make you decide, I can do this and let's keep going with various contracts.
And I think too, absolutely. If you go remote and you have a bad first experience, you're not likely to hurry back.
True.
So that it is important. Yeah.
What's probably been the biggest surprise for you as you've thought about it all your life and now you're doing it. But I guess in those initial times, what surprised you the most?
Well, after 39 years of nursing, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
A bit like being a teenager.
Yeah.
I went remote and I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
And then I realised I knew nothing about remote nursing or Indigenous people. Rheumatic heart disease. I knew nothing. How do you get it? How do you treat it?
Yeah.
I was horrified that we were jabbing people with penicillin injections because they had a sore throat.
Oh, wow.
I'd just come from working also in an after-hours clinic that, you know, predominantly you got a lot of sore throats and earaches because that's when mum and dad got home from work and the kids were sick.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait till tomorrow. So we used to see a lot of those. You'd be giving them oral antibiotics, but not in the NT.
Yeah.
Because if you don't treat them with that penicillin, they're going to get rheumatic heart disease.
And what about with, like, you were saying there, in that cultural awareness piece, because you hadn't worked with First Nations people, how was that transition for you?
Look, I personally didn't have a big problem with the cultural side of it. I don't know. I just treat everybody the same.
Yep.
And I've learnt to have a few jokes with people, and I've learnt to be a bit crazy.
Yep.
My uniform dress, I wear long compression socks. Some of them have got unicorns on them, and some of them have got flamingos. And I've just been given a pair that have got giraffes on them.
Yeah, yeah.
I tend to find I can be a bit of an icebreaker.
Yeah, I was going to say you're a walking icebreaker.
Just noting the Christmas present for Mari this year.
Suddenly they're all pointing at that nurse and look at her, she's crazy. And it just changes the whole
dynamic.
Yeah, dynamics of it. So, so culturally, I haven't really found. I just love it. Every community I've been to is different because it's, you know, a different clan or a different area. So they have different cultural things that are relevant to their area.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to be able to talk to people and, you know, what happens here and what happens there. And yeah.
And having worked across quite a few communities now in those years, do you look back and think this is the impact that I've had, or, you know, can you really see the impact of you going into that community?
Unfortunately, you don't see a big impact, but I think what keeps me going is that I know it's the little steps.
Yeah.
Like every baby I do an immunisation for, I know that child is not going to grow up with hepatitis B.
Yeah.
It's not going to get cirrhosis of the liver from that hepatitis B, and it's not going to get cancer from the hepatitis B.
And that is huge impact. It might not feel it, I think, day to day, but that is,
that is significant.
And that's the other advantage that I find with doing the 8 weeks is that it gives you long enough to build rapport with the people in that community as well.
Yeah.
And so they might have been a bit reluctant to get those needles done, but 4 weeks down the track, they've seen you a couple of times and they now trust you and, okay, we'll have that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Mari,
So,
I was just going to say, go on, you go.
So, you know, it's not major inroads into any of the closing the gap stuff, but you've got to look at the little things that do make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that one step at a time.
Yeah.
Mari, what advice then would you give, you know, if an RN's considering that step into remote area nursing, what are the things that they should be aware of? Maybe the things you wish you knew before you went going, you know, what are the benefits, but then what are the challenges? Because, you know, like you said, if you don't have the greatest first experience, you might not want to go back. So what should they be aware of?
That they don't know everything. They need to ask questions. They need to be really that new nurse again and just ask. You cannot assume anything. The minute you start assuming you know what you're doing, you're going to end up in trouble.
Yep.
It's so much easier to fix things before it's a problem.
Yep.
Than after you create one.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely if anyone is considering it, go for it because it's life-changing to me.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, apart from what I might be contributing to the community, it's life-changing to the nurses that get out there and, you know, I've met so many beautiful people.
It sounds like
to see our beautiful country, and I'm getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really connected community. We're going to discuss with you. I've heard that sometimes attracting people to these communities, isolation can be a problem or a barrier for people to think that they can go out there. But we understand that you take Peter with you. Is that right? On contract, I guess that maybe solves that problem there. But what do you think about that, or what's been the accommodation like? Has it been difficult to bring him with you, or is it not a problem?
Hasn't been a problem for me at this point in time.
Yeah.
Mind you, my next contract I won't have him with me because he's in the US at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's because we've now got such a good life balance.
Yeah.
That I volunteered him to go and help a friend in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when
no,
people are going to a
Sorry.
hospital setting, perhaps the accommodation isn't available for them to take a partner. But when you're going remote, you've got that opportunity a lot of the time to take a partner, which maybe is something people don't realise and think it might be out of bounds for them because of that. But in most cases, do you find that that's possible?
very, very possible. And if there's not work, Pete's never been without work in a community.
What sort of
What
work
does he
does he
do?
do? Yeah,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Well, mostly he's managed to get work in the clinics,
Yep.
either as a driver or as a gardener or a cleaner. He painted the clinic at Daily River.
Yep, I remember
Which
that
had-
actually.
Had not had an update for 25 years, and he's managed to gurney and paint the exterior
Yep.
of the clinic for the first time in 25 years.
Yeah, well.
On Bathurst Island, there wasn't work at the clinic, but he picked up work with one of the women's organisations up there. He was doing some maintenance work for them.
Yeah.
So there is, and like when we were in Largemanu, he could have had 6 jobs.
Oh my God, you're like a remote power couple.
Well, it's just you've got to get out there and make yourself known.
Yeah.
There's often work at post offices or shops or cleaning of council quarters or, none of it's glamorous.
No.
But it's all
But if it
contributing.
means you can be together, then it's great.
And do you do back-to-back contracts? Because I know you're also a part-time grandmother as well. And you mentioned there before that this remote area nursing has really allowed you both to have a really great lifestyle. Is it a couple of weeks on, couple of weeks off? Did that make you nervous as well, stepping into contract work? Is there going to be enough work for me? Job security?
Stepping in, it was terrifying. I've always been an organised person, and financially included, and to be throwing in a job here, not knowing how much work was available. I didn't even know what the pay rate was. I didn't ask when I started.
Yeah, yeah.
I was too scared. I just wanted to do it, and people told me it was okay, so it must have been okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was terrifying. My first contract was a 6-week contract because I figured that I would either love it or hate it in that 6 weeks. If I hated it, I could hang it out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If I loved it, it was long enough to get my teeth into it and know that was what I wanted to do. And no, I don't do back-to-back contracts purely because I do want to either come home and see my grandbabies. Peter and I have got 12 between us.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Or we want to travel. So we've been blessed enough. We've spent a month round Uluru and Alice Springs and done the East and West McDonnell Ranges. We've done the Kimberleys. We've been over to Cairns. We've done lots of travelling apart from coming home. So, and the fact that we're together, doesn't matter where we are, we're together.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, and, like my eldest daughter, whose house I'm sitting in at the moment,
Yeah.
when are you coming home, Mum? You were only going for 12 months. And I said, well, I'm not coming home, but she's had a baby nearly 2 years ago and I could spend 7 weeks with her when she had that baby.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm now home for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I would never have that quality time with these children if I was working a conventional job here.
Yeah. Yeah. So special for the grandbabies
So
and
good.
your own children.
So the remuneration of working remote is phenomenal. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So, it does give you that. It's given me a far better life-work balance than I would have ever dreamt could possibly be there.
And
So-
The remote area nursing community, I know that sort of research is sort of suggesting that the next couple of years, a lot of our RANs will be looking to retire and there's a little bit of a gap in the workforce. How do you think we could attract more RANs into these roles? Or is there anything that that we're not doing to get more RANs into these roles?
Unfortunately, that decline in nursing is not just remote. It is
across the board.
Everywhere. It costs too much.
Mm-hmm.
They seriously need to think about the HECS debt that people end up with.
Yeah.
That is a major hurdle. I personally do not have a degree in anything. I've never been to university. I am hospital trained. I did not do a bridging course. I was too scared.
Yeah.
I'm still too scared. Got lots of certificates, but no actual degrees or whatever. So for people to come remote, they don't have to have all the pieces of paper that, lots of degrees or, population health degrees and all that sort of stuff. So they possibly aren't aware of that either. And I do think that sometimes when you look at job advertisements, they're a bit over the top. And I think a conversation with people is more important than what's written in an ad.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe the person who wants to help these communities for the right reasons might be the most important trait when looking for a RAN or the type of people to go into this line of work versus the pieces of paper.
Absolutely, but they're also got to realise that they're not going to change the world in a day.
Yes.
It is those tiny little steps that make the difference.
Yeah. That, when we talk about the differences when we're remote, if we've got a Gold Coast RN who's going remote, I'm sure that they would experience a bit of a shock in terms of the services they've got access to, the equipment. Is there anything that you can talk to that point about?
No, she's a nurse. Any nurse that is going remote has to be comfortable with their own time.
Yep.
Because you are isolated. You can be in communities where the other nurses want nothing to do with you out of hours because you've just spent 8 hours together.
Yeah.
So you have to make your own entertainment.
Yeah.
I take jigsaws, I read, I crochet.
Yeah.
So my port has often got more stuff in it than clothes.
Yeah.
And that's with Peter with me. Because I do dot art and things like that doesn't weigh a lot and you can put it. So, and you've got to be able to get out there and, do a bit of walking or exercise to keep yourself mentally and physically healthy.
Yeah.
So as far as going remote, it's just such an amazing experience. And I can guarantee you 99% of the population would have no idea what it's about, how to get into it.
Yeah.
I think too that like the ongoing professional development you've got to do is very expensive.
Yes.
So unless you are going to do almost continuous remote, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like if you were looking at going remote and thinking, because when I first started, I thought, maybe I can just do, my 3 weeks annual leave.
Yeah.
But you can't do that because you would only get 2 stints or 3 stints in a year or 2 years, and you've paid out thousands of dollars for those mech and rec. And
so you really have to be that career RAN.
You have to have a career. You have to make it a career to make it worthwhile, yeah.
Murray, looking back on your remote career, is there one moment that really stands out for you that's been a really memorable moment or something that you think, that was just...
No, it's all just been so good in that to get that work-life balance is just amazing. I've delivered a prem baby on Groot Island at 34 weeks.
Wow.
Now, if that mum hadn't had help, she'd have been in trouble.
Yeah.
I wasn't on my own. Granted, you know, when you've got someone in prem labour, you get the whole team in. But I was there and, helped her through that and evac'd her on the plane because they still go into Darwin. That prem baby had to go into Darwin. But to know you've got it to that plane and that baby is pink and warm and sweet, its blood sugar's fine and things like that. There's just so many amazing things. It can go wrong. They don't always go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the research shows the outcomes for remote health versus, the access you've got to resources in a metro area. And I think that just showcases the impact of you and all of the healthcare professionals like you who are working in these remote areas of how you can impact the community. Because you're right, if you weren't there, if the team weren't there, then that's a very different story. So I think I think everyone's grateful for the work that you do. Now today,
I'm grateful that it's there because it just, it's changed my life and it's changed Peter's life, and down the track, like, it's the ripple effect.
Yeah.
It's the quality time I do have with my grandchildren.
Absolutely. Well, look, you've clearly had huge impact, particularly in that top end area of Australia over the last few years. We would love this podcast to ensure that every guest has a bit of a platform, I guess, to shine a light on a charity close to your heart. CMR are donating $500 to that charity during this podcast. What charity would you like to talk to today?
I think that should go to Beyond Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health and suicide prevention is such a major thing, not just in those top end First Nations communities, but everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just think that they do such a phenomenal job that $500 would be well spent with them.
Yeah, thank you. Look, it's so wonderful to not only donate that money, but also just raise awareness to these charities that each of our guests are talking to today. So thank you for that. Mari, when I first reached out to you, you responded and said that if you could inspire one nurse from this podcast to work remotely, then this would be worth your time. And I think that there's no doubt that you've certainly done that today.
Yeah.
And I'd say a few more than that too. So thank you so much for your time. You've been so generous to share all of your wisdom over your course of your career. Thank you so much.
And thank you too for what you've contributed to Cornerstone. You've been such just an advocate and so forthcoming and generous with your time and your thoughts and your ideas. And, you are the front line, right? We learn so much from you and your experience. So we're just so grateful to have equally had the opportunity. Had you read that email and get back in touch with the team and have that opportunity to work with you all these years. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We'll see you soon, hey?
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to share, rate and review. This allows us to reach more people and share more incredible stories. Click the follow or subscribe button to ensure you never miss an episode.